The Banner Saga was created by former employees of BioWare and was originally released on PC in 2014. It went on to spawn a trilogy of titles, and the series has now found a new home on the Nintendo Switch. It's a tactical RPG and has a beautifully animated story following two very different tales in a Norse Viking-like setting. One half of the game sees you leading and managing your clan's caravan as it makes its way across the lands, trying to outrun a barbarian race called the Dredge. Whilst the other story is more intimate and follows a father and daughter just beginning to discover the horrors that are about to befall the lands. It's not long before the stories cross paths, and along the way you have to make tough decisions on the direction of each tale. This can often mean making choices that see you lose important characters along the way, and there is no reloading past saves. The choices you make are set in stone, so beware. Battles are played out on a familiar grid and are turn-based. There are some nice mechanics in place when attacking, such as having the option to attack an enemy's armour or try to damage the enemy themselves. Attacking and ultimately destroying the armour means future direct attacks do much bigger damage to your foe, but obviously it takes longer to start inflicting health damage to an opponent. It's a nice system that gives you a tough decision to make most turns. And that's Banner Saga in a nutshell really, tough decisions. Whether deciding the fate of your characters in the story or mulling over each and every strike in a battle, this is a tough and heavy game, and that may not mean it's for everyone, but that's okay. The hand-drawn graphics still hold up today and are stunning, as is the amazing soundtrack. I really recommend you check this game out, especially if you're a fan of interactive novels with a tactical side salad.
It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
There was some debate whether to include the Darkest Dungeon on this list. It definitely has strategic elements, but also leans very heavily on a few other genres, such as RPG, roguelike, and dungeon crawling. I think it does just about enough in its original take on turn-based combat to deserve its place though. Darkest Dungeon is surely the game H.P. Lovecraft would have made, and many of the horrors that stalk you in the titular Dark Dungeons could have been lifted from the pages of any Lovecraftian novel. One of the core mechanics of this superb game is stress. It's a clever addition and makes you wonder why more games don't do something similar. Creeping through the dimly lit dungeons, fighting for your life whilst facing unimaginable horrors would absolutely make you stressed, and seeing that reflected in your characters really connects you to the gameplay. If any of your party get overstressed, then their personality traits are amplified to a maximum level, and this may see them flee in fear or ignoring any orders as they look out for themselves. If they get too stressed, they can actually even die of a heart attack. Permadeath exists in this game, and you will regularly lose party members and have to replace them with the next sap that arrives on the town stagecoach. In between searching dungeons for treasure and artifacts, you also manage your estate, upgrading taverns, brothels and gambling dens, establishments that can help reduce stress for the compatible party member. As I mentioned, the turn-based combat is quite unique, as your four heroes move and attack in a line. Each character prefers their own place in the queue and can also sometimes only do damage to foes if they are placed correctly. This leads to careful planning and strategy as you juggle your party around to maximise their use. The story mode clocks in at around 50 hours, and you can double that time if you want to seek out every secret and side quest this game has to offer. There is also additional DLC content for those seeking even more horrors. This is another great indie game on the Nintendo Switch, and is from the same developers as the hugely popular PC game FTL. Into the Breach sees you commanding Earth's last defense against an alien invasion, and truth be told, that's about as far as the story goes. It's a good job then that the gameplay is so good. One of the things that make this turn-based strategy game so unique is the ability to foresee what the next move of the enemy player is going to be. This allows for some clever moments in the game. For example, if an alien has lined up a shot on a human building on their next turn, you can hit them with an attack that will shift them one square to line up with another alien, and now on their turn, their attack will hit that alien. With this little twist in place, the game starts to feel something more akin to chess as you plan out your actions 2 to 3 moves in advance. The game also features some roguelike elements, such as the random layouts of each level changing on every run, permanent upgrades that unlock as you progress, and permadeath for pilots of your units. Another nice feature for this title is the bite-sized nature of it. Each map can be played in 5 to 10 minutes, and completing the main objective shouldn't take any more than around 90 minutes in total. There are lots of things to unlock though with repeated play, and some tricky in-game achievements to tackle. It's perfect for those pick up and play sessions, and for the budget price, it's a game every strategy fan should absolutely have in their library. Who would have thought when it was first shown off that taking Nintendo's flagship characters and putting them into Ubisoft's annoying Rabbids world, and then throwing them into a game based on 2K's XCOM would turn out to be so damn good? But good it is. There's a thin story about a group of time-travelling Rabbids who stumble into our world, steal an inventor's helmet which can combine two objects together, and end up in the Mushroom Kingdom causing chaos that only Mario, Luigi, Peach and some friendly Rabbids can put right. As you unlock new characters, each with their own stats and unique weapons, you can assemble different squads for each challenge. And yes, I said weapons. This is Mario as you've never seen him, and as I said earlier, gameplay is very much XCOM in style, so this involves cover-based tactical shooting across different battlefields. Between each stage, spread across the 4 larger worlds, your group can run around in the hub world, which plays a bit like a traditional 3D Mario game and has coins, chests and blueprints to find in its tucked-away corners. But it's the tactical combat we are really interested in here, and Mario Rabbids has just enough complexities to make it super engaging. Movement is grid-based, and in addition to normal movement, you can combine with other characters to be hoisted longer distances. Combat is based on a percentage chance of hitting your enemy, although the slightly more complex system from XCOM is simplified here, and the chance of hitting someone is just 100, 50 or 25% based on any cover between you and them. Enemies are smart though, and they will flank you at any opportunity, meaning you should make full use of any Overwatch abilities your characters may have to catch out the bad guys out of your turn. Mario Rabbids is a really good game though, probably one of the best games you can get on the Nintendo Switch at the moment. It runs smoothly and has a deep engaging gameplay system. If you like XCOM, then you'll be right at home here, and even if you've never played XCOM before but fancy some excellent tactical gameplay, then you will soon pick up the simplified mechanics and be having a blast in no time. The Disgaea series combines over-the-top anime tropes, deep tactical gameplay and an RPG system that almost goes on forever, and is one hell of a game. Actually, let's start in hell, as although each game in the series is very similar mechanically, each features a story about a larger-than-life demonic character. This 5th entry is no different, with a nonsensical story about a demon emperor called Void Dark destroying the planets of the Netherworld, and a curry-eating demon called Killia and his scantily clad sidekick, Seraphina, travelling to any remaining planets to convince the other demonic lords to join their army against Void Dark. This usually means fighting through a series of levels within the world before finally facing off against that planet's boss and then winning them over. Gameplay is straight up grid-based tactical combat, with each of the characters you can summon from your portal having their own movement, combat, magic and health stats. Characters on the battlefield can combine in various ways, either giving buffs or potions, performing team attacks when on adjacent squares, and even climbing on top of each other to form huge towers for powerful attacks, or they can even be thrown across the map. I just love how Disgaea has its tongue firmly in its cheek. Take the opening cutscene, which is an over-the-top and dramatic introduction to the characters, almost making you feel like this is going to be a heavy and serious emotional journey. Then the next moment in the game you're talking to exploding penguins and taking in any opportunity to try new curry flavours mid-battle. You can also catch goofy references to WWE wrestlers in the characters' dialogues. Talking of which, all the characters are fully voice acted, and although some of the voices can grate a bit, I'm looking at you Seraphina, you can also get used to them eventually, and it doesn't take long before you're fully invested in their plight. That said, any story mode in a Disgaea game is more or less considered a 60+ hour tutorial. The main heart of the game is the grind. You're encouraged to replay previous stages to keep levelling up your characters to the fabled level of 9999, and there are a wealth of options outside of the story mode to help with this. You can play in the item world, which is an infinite series of randomly generated levels using similar mechanics to the main game. You can make an item world run for each and every of the hundreds of individual items and weapons in the game to level them up. Then there's Kara World to level up your characters, an almost Mario Party-esque ball game where you have to roll to move and overcome a series of obstacles to reach the exit and gain your XP. And Disgaea carries on like this. It just goes on and on with systems and mini games and little side quests that you can do. Has character creation, interrogations to turn bad guys to your side, shops, hospitals, research squads, farming. Game even has its own senate where you can lobby and bribe other demons to change the rules of the game in your favour. If you're looking for a game with hundreds and hundreds of hours of deep tactical gameplay, then this is for you. Its humorous writing and cast of bizarre characters will win you over, and whilst repetition will inevitably set in at some point, it's a game you can return to again and again. And for my money, it's probably one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch.